we're in unprecedented territory. The law says he has 30 days unless the Congress passes a joint resolution to extend it. Because there is no real predicate, in our view, for a crime surge that caused the emergency, having the reasons to end the emergency are also unclear. So that's the conversation that I will have with the person that he has designated as his proxy to request these services, and that's the Attorney General Bondi.
So the mayor has been up and down with their description and just put out a statement earlier saying, I really great like dealing with Attorney General Pam Bondi. He also was quoted as saying that the president's acting in a fascist tone. So which one is it? Bret Baier joins us now. And, of course, the mayor of D.C. now has about 800 more law enforcement agents from National Guard to FBI agents helping her out in a city that she says is doing fine. Bret Baier, what's the reality? I know you live in a couple of places and you spend a lot of time traveling. Bret Baier, you're chief political anchor at Fox News. Just in case you don't know, you have a book coming out. It's called Rescue the American Spirit, Teddy Roosevelt and the Birth of a Superpower. So, Bret, what's the reality when you talk to your friends and colleagues about crime in D.C.? What's your reality?
Yeah, I mean, here's the reality. I had a house that was just north of Georgetown in a really nice area called, Northwest, but it's a great area to live, and we obviously raised our family there. I now spend half the week here, and the family's down in Florida. But just to give you an example, like only a few months ago, midday, about 3 p.m., a guy 3 blocks from my house at the time was bumped in from behind from another car, and he pulled over to how you would do to get the insurance and deal with the accident, and 3 guys pop out of the car masked with guns and take his car, carjacked, and took his car away 3:00 in the afternoon in a really nice part of Washington, D.C. My point is that everybody has one of these stories. And, whether you're Republican or Democrat or independent, there are increasing issues with this kind of crime. Not only violent crime, but that kind of carjacking and also property crime. So everybody knows it. Democrats will tell it to you. I had Adrian Elrod on my show last night on Special Report saying, yeah, it is an issue. And so, for anybody who says that, it's just not necessary, a lot of people will tell you that they welcome the action. Now, how it lasts, where it goes from here, I think are all questions.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll see what happens with the increased presence. But I also hope they go into the more urban areas, the projects, the more rundown working class areas. Do you think
100%,
they will?
Yeah, that's where the real issues. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully that'll happen. But we do have these tragic situations that are happening in nice neighborhoods when Redskins running backs get shot on when they're trying to get their car out of valet. So we're seeing that happening. But Bret, it's kind of interesting because the mayor doesn't really know how to act. She's all over the place. One minute she's condemning, and the next minute she's praising him. Do you think she's getting pressure from her own party?
I think so. I think she has to be, because her original initial statement was to welcome the cooperation and to praise the Attorney General for how they're working together, and to praise all of the leaders she was talking to. And then a day sort of transpired, and there was another message about authoritarian actions and worry about expansion.
Bret Baier with us now. And Bret, you're going to be going to Alaska, I understand. What is the schedule and what are you hearing? I know we're going to the U.S. The venue's going to be a military base, right?
Yeah, it'll be a military base in Anchorage. And, it's fascinating. I'll be traveling on Air Force One. I'll talk to the president on the way over there. And then we have a number of things on the ground, including doing my show, Special Report. But it is going to be fascinating to see exactly how he characterizes this. and what comes out of it. We are working to try to get Vladimir Putin on, and we're in talks, believe it or not, with that. And we'll see. But there may be a joint press conference. We don't know because it's so fluid at this point. But I'll be on the trip.
Wow, that'd be interesting. Have you ever interviewed him?
Putin? No. I've had different officials from Russia on, including his big economic negotiator. But we aspire to have at least his individual reaction to what came out of the summit.
That'll be interesting. I'm trying to get a read, and we have President Trump on tomorrow on the radio show, which I know you'll be listening to. I'm trying to get a read on what Steve Witkoff learned from Vladimir Putin that made him call the president and say, it's worth your time. And I haven't gotten any specific thing. I heard about the swaps. There's confusion on. What do you think? What's behind Vladimir Putin going for this now?
You know, I can't put a finger on it yet. I don't know if it's the initial to try to get to negotiating. I think it's bigger as far as, a trade situation with the U.S. to open up economic channels. I think that the efforts to pinch Russia may be having an effect, and they could step up. You know, they could increase with another tariff on China in coming weeks for buying Russian oil. That's already happened, 25% more to India. Eventually, that hurts an economy that's already stressed in a number of different ways. So, you know, it's interesting that both sides are also bringing their economic advisors, and maybe this is part of a big, broader deal that ties to that. But whatever happens, the Ukrainians have to be at the table to decide what they can or cannot do.
Absolutely, and the thing is too, I understand there was a I guess a Zoom call with European leaders and Zelensky, and there's a protocol that they want to relay. They want to say you got to ask for it in a nice way. Trump doesn't take orders well. In a nice way, they say you got to have ceasefire and security guarantees 1 and 2. So, what does that look like in reality?
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know, and I think, you know, there's all kinds of people in Washington, Democrats and Republicans, who are skeptical about Putin, period, because he has a long history of dealing with things that have not panned out. And obviously the European leaders are worried that they agree to something and then, you know, he tears it up in a year or two and then starts moving again. Yeah, and starts moving again. So hence the security guarantee. All
right, we'll see what's going to happen. But I just don't know, like, Bret, I know you have a lot of friends. I just don't know what ones are imaginary. So you could choose to tell me which aren't. But I found out that Chuck Schumer's got an imaginary friend. So what you're about to hear is John Oliver, who discovered it as well. And believe it or not, it's from my town of Massapequa again. Let's listen.
Well, you heard him. The Baileys have guided Chuck Schumer's political life, which is a little weird given they don't exist. Seriously, he invented them. But crucially, for all he talks about how much he loves the Baileys, they don't seem to return that love. Of the 6 votes the Baileys had across the last 3 presidential elections, 5 went to Donald Trump, most recently because of crime. They also think the civil rights movement went too far and aren't against immigration, just illegal immigration. And this is the couple who, in Chuck Schumer's own words, have guided his political life. And at this point, it might be worth asking, is that a good idea? Because the truth is, Schumer's devotion to his imaginary friends may help explain why he and the Democratic Party have been so underwhelming in recent years. Because he seems to be focusing a huge amount on the interest of the Baileys from Long Island, while forgetting other voters actually exist.
For example, I know people's heads are spinning now, they're saying, what am I talking about? I didn't know about this till I watched it, but this is what Chuck Schumer said about the Baileys, who don't exist, multiple times.
They're a middle-class couple in Massapequa, which is a suburb on Long Island.
Joe and Eileen Bailey, this middle-class couple, they bought into Reagan Republicanism in 1980. Joe and Eileen are worried about losing their jobs or their friends' jobs. The Baileys really don't believe in trickle down. They don't believe in a whole lot of government spending, but they believe in tax breaks for kids to go to college. He's an insurance adjuster and lives in the New York suburbs. By New York standards, he makes $50,000 a year. If he lived in the middle of the country, he'd make 40. Wife works in a medical office. She makes about 20. She might make 15 elsewhere.
Okay, so just keep in mind, none of that is real. Bret, I don't want to put you on the spot, but have you made things up in the past? Or are there your neighbors that don't exist? Has anything like this ever happened to you?
No, it's not. Listen, I saw that. I thought Oliver did an amazing job laying it out. I hadn't known any of that. I guess it's a story that first popped up years ago in the New Yorker, but really didn't get a lot of traction. But he continues to use the Baileys, and not in a broad way, but in a very specific way, like with very specific details. Like Joe stands up at the Rangers games and takes off his hat. She's very upset about problems in the school, and then goes into their kids who then have names who are also make-believe. It's very bizarre, and it's getting a lot of attention online. We're going to try to talk to the Senate Minority Leader at some point and see if we can turn a story about the Baileys.
And by the way, if there were Baileys, I would have bumped into them at Uncle Giuseppe's in Massapequa, but I was no one to bump into because they weren't there, even though they.
I get the point. He's trying to use this couple that votes different ways. They're really independent, but here's why they're a lodestar. But he could have said a make-believe family, but he uses them as real people.
Bret, it's just crazy between what's going on with the president. Every day is different, but it's definitely exciting. Lastly, any word about the Texas lawmakers coming back on the gerrymander? Because last night ABC was reporting they were going to go back home.
Yeah, we don't have word that that's happened yet. They did not get a quorum again today. I do think that the pressure is on both from the FBI and from Texas officials and where Governor Abbott is. I'm watching now the president at the Kennedy Center announcing the new Kennedy Center honorees. It is quite something to see him take control of kind of every aspect of Washington, D.C. Congratulations to Sylvester Stallone, a friend of ours, who is going to be an honoree, as well as Kiss. And Michael Crawford. You can see the song list already in President Trump's eyes of what he's going to hear in December.
Crazy times. But Sylvester Stallone, at one point, I was better friends with him than you. And that has totally turned on its head. Now it's Bret Baier and Brian Kilmeade's an afterthought. So I don't know how I lost that friendship.
It's just proximity.
Right.
It's just proximity.
When I used to say, I know Sylvester Stallone, people say, Brian, you're making that up. Little do we know that I was actually telling the truth, and Chuck Schumer was making up somebody in my own town.
It's not the Baileys.
It's absolutely not. Hey, I cannot wait for your book that can be pre-ordered now to rescue the American spirit, Teddy Roosevelt, and the birth of a superpower. Bret?
Yeah, really psyched about it.
It's great.
It's going to be good.
Yeah, it's really great, and we love Teddy Roosevelt. Thanks so much, Bret.
See ya.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.